and welcome to the Inner Investment Podcast, where we talk about mental health, wellness, entrepreneurship, and brand building. Today we are at Le Caban, a beautiful restaurant on the west coast of Barbados. And today we have Alystra Clark, the owner of Mint on the Moon and Myzen Media.
Hi, everybody.
So tell me a little bit about your businesses.
Well,
which one you started first?
So the first one I started was Mint on the Moon. That was about 4 years ago. I really went to a wellness program when I was about 15 years old because I was really into like skin, hair, and just being a girl boss, right? And I wanted to know how to own my own business. So it was a program that was coming up. My mom told me to apply, and I had to send in a short paragraph of who I am. So I did that and I got through, and that's where it really started. During that program, I had to build my own business from the skills that we were taught there, which would be like natural hair braiding, doing nails, manicures and pedicures, and also skincare formulations. And that's where it really started.
So you gravitated more to the skincare over like the nails and stuff, or those are things that you also like?
I like those as well, but really and truly the skincare was my main focus because since I was a young girl, I mean, I was always in the kitchen, you know, mixing different ingredients, looking on Google, you know, okay, I can mix coffee and honey for under eye mask, those sort of things. So that's where I really gravitated to.
And where was this wellness program? It was in Barbados?
Yeah, it was in Barbados. This was like in Wildy, an area in Wildy. So that's really where Mint on the Moon started.
Yeah. Just a little bit more about the program. This is something that they do every year, or this was like a one-off program?
This, I haven't seen it since, so I would say this is like a one-off thing.
Yeah, and in terms of Myzen Media?
Well, that's actually a very new one. I had a course at school to do last semester. It was digital photography, and you had to get a camera for it. I mean, you could have used your phone as well, but I was like, you know what, let me just go the extra mile and get a camera, you know, just see how it is. And that's where I really fell in love with it. And also me being able to create videos and content for Mint on the Moon, that's really where it started.
Yeah, so I see on your Instagram is like you are now able to merge both of the companies, as you say. So having a business first, how long you had Myzen Media?
This was probably December last year.
Okay, so now that you develop a second business, how do you find the collaboration is between both brands? Do you think that your Mint on the Moon benefits a lot from the Myzen Media, and like how do you incorporate it?
For a fact, Mint on the Moon is surely a part of Myzen because I'm now able to, you know, take the product photography using Myzen and also promote Myzen at the same time. So both of them benefit each other.
Okay, so how challenging is it now? Like, I know content creation on a whole is so time consuming, and just running a business on top of that, skincare, producing the product, thinking about the formulas and developing the whole product, and then having to go and do the content creation. You feel like overwhelmed, or is it something that just comes naturally to you?
Honestly, at first I think I just really love these sort of things, so it just came naturally for me. But as time progresses and, you know, people are inquiring about these services and stuff, it can be a little taxing sometimes, but you just have to learn how to manage your time and say, okay, I'm going to allocate this amount of time to this client and then the next amount of time to this client. So it's just to have a balance, really.
So tell me a little bit about the products from Mint on the Moon.
Okay, so, well, for now, I have a 4-step skincare routine. That's the main focus of Mint on the Moon right now. It's really to build self-confidence and self-love through products. So it's a whole 4-step routine. It will be a cleanser, a mask, a moisturizer, and a serum. You can use them together as a whole routine, or you can use it one by one depending on your skincare needs.
So what type of skin do you cater to? Or is it all?
All skincare types. It just depends on which product suits you. So for instance, For dry skin, I would recommend using the moisturizer. It's called Daily Clouds, and the serum Spectral Fuel, because they're really good for combating like dry skin issues such as eczema, rosacea, and stuff like that.
So you had any challenges as a Bajan, like being in the Caribbean and formulating your products? Like, does the weather, like how hot outside is, does that affect the production of the products?
I would say there was a time where I was just dabbling into body care and I was offering body butters. That's the main thing, because as you know, if I don't add any like hardeners or waxes or stuff like that, it tends to melt at a high temperature. So that was my main issue with having body butters as a part of my line. But I'm slowly working on how to solve that issue so that customers don't be complaining about my body butter melting and stuff like that.
Okay, so I know you said you started with like a 4 product line. What was the first product you ever created for Mint on the Moon?
The first product, it was actually about 3 products. It was a oatmeal scrub, a body oil, and a face mask. Those 3 products were the first products that I actually made at the program. And after the program, once it was finished, we had to do like an expo at the same facility where we made the products and people came out and they purchased. So it was really an opportunity for me to learn and experience how an entrepreneur really operates.
So tell me about how business has been in the past 4 years. From the beginning, because I know when you first start a business, it is like you're trying to figure out what direction you want to go in. I mean, we usually have that end game and that end goal in our head, but to get there and to find the path, sometimes it could be so challenging and you gotta go on trial and error. So I know at the beginning you might say, this is what you want to do, but it really don't work all the time. So I want to understand how it has been from the beginning for you and these past 4 years, especially with the pandemic.
Honestly, after the expo, I can tell you I was so caught up in finishing my CXCs that I just did not pay any mind for like 2 years. Honestly, I was like, you know what? I had the opportunity, let's just move on to something else. Like, I don't know what else to do after the program. So then I stopped completely. And about in 2020, I was like, you know, I should really start back. And one of my friends actually recommended to me, they were like, yo, hey, you got a business, like try and make some extra money.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can think about it. So I went back on the page. I was like, all right, we can make some stuff. So then the next set of products that I made was body butters, a hair oil, and a body scrub. And those products, I mean, the body butters were fantastic. I mean, no melting, nothing. But then there were certain times where people would complain about like the scrub, it didn't smell good. And that just really like pulled me down after a certain amount of time, because I'm like, okay, like I'm trying so hard and y'all just criticizing my products. So
I know
like
that feeling,
I felt really bad. Like I worked so hard, I spent my lunch money and all that to get ingredients and containers, and this is what happening for real.
Yeah.
So then I stopped for like that year. I said, okay, let me just finish school and then we can come back to that. So then I went back and I created new labels and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, we got this time, we got it.
So but I know after you go through something like that and you get back the feedback, and sometimes it could be harsh, because at the end of the day, you could tell the truth, but that doesn't mean that the truth has to be brutal. And I think people don't understand that they can tell you the truth, tell you what's going on, and not be brutal.
Yeah.
So my question is, throughout that time, how did you get yourself to that place again to go try again? Because I know some people would have just be done with it and not go back at it.
Honestly, for me, like I said, I really enjoyed making the products. So I was like, okay, I can just scrape a little bit, you know, take the beatings and take the lashes. And then I was like, okay, Alystra, let's just rethink it. Let's see how it would be if it was something different. So then that's where I literally sat down at home and I started just mixing like the same ingredients I had bought. I was like, okay, I got a few ingredients that I did not use, so let me just try and find something else to create out of these same products. And that's where the 4-step facial line really came about. And that line has gone through so much trial and errors for sure. The first set of facial cleansers I made were made out of aloes straight from outside of my house. And after a couple, like 2 weeks, the product went bad because it was like I'm mixing water and not adding any preservatives to it to really make the product last. So that was error for me. And again, people were complaining about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am trying all the time and this is not working. So then I did some more research. I was like, yeah, I got to get this. Like, I got to. And then, yes. And then I finally got a formula that was like perfect. I mean, I absolutely loved it. And my family, they loved it as well. My friends, and I was just like letting them test it first. And then I finally launched it again. This was about in 2021. I relaunched the products, and I've had the same formula ever since, and people absolutely love it. Especially one of the hit products would be our turmeric mask. That really helps people with like acne breakouts and stuff like that. They see results within the matter of 2 weeks, even like a couple of days. So hearing those reviews, it just made me see how far I came.
Yeah, for sure, especially after 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like taking that beating at the beginning. You really gotta be strong to push through and say, well, let me keep developing the product so that I can reach a position where I know this product, like it can't stand a chance for somebody to say this working or whatever. So I know for sure as a business owner, that beginning stages is always be the hardest stages.
Yeah.
I even went through that with my kids. And I think being young in business also is different to when you are an adult, young adult or mature adult. As a child, you're still developing, but if you have that creativity, you got that business mentality, go ahead and start the business. But then when it comes to customer relations and taking certain feedback, it's different for young business owners.
Because I was really not used to hearing people
that
just
criticism,
outright come and tell me, this smell bad.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
This smell bad. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I was just taken back by that. I was like, mommy, like I literally cried a day because it was like so overwhelming to hear those sort of things from people that I'm really not used to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something that you put all your effort, your love, your energy in, to then just hear that back. As I said, brutal honesty. It doesn't have to be brutal. It could be very truthful, but in a very kind way. So I know for me as a business owner, when I did a cake, I was young. I was probably like 15 or 14. I was very young, and I did this kit and I said, hey, for this kit, and I taken this to the customer. And one of the lessons I learned at this point was that it's smart to send the customer a picture before leaving and like going down and doing the delivery. So she did not like this kit, and she was brutally honest about it too. And it wasn't an opportunity for me to go back and fix it and stuff. It was just a continue and a rant. But again, that's a whole different conversation because you got customers that you're just not going to agree with. And it's easy to just say, well, we can't work together. So for you, as a young entrepreneur, besides that brutal honesty, is there other things that you think you experienced from that aspect as a young entrepreneur that people may not understand? And people may not have seen because as business owners, people don't see behind the doors all the time.
I think being so young and having a business, I think the society that we live in today is like, they don't really understand. They're like, oh, she's just doing a little something, you know, just doing a little side thing, side hustle, this and that. But for me, it was more of this is a business I want to have permanently and
Yeah.
a part of my life. So for that, it was like, okay, people are just not really taking me seriously for being so young and starting my business so young. And then again, people were questioning like, oh, I'm making these products in my kitchen and this and that. And it was really hurtful at first, hearing people saying those things, because you know, you gotta start somewhere. Like
Yeah.
I started in my kitchen, and now I had a space and stuff like that, and I have my own space where I make my own products outside of that.
Yeah.
So it's like from the beginning, people were just looking down basically on it.
Yeah. And I can understand that too, because the hardest part is to start.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who have ideas that do not start. It just stays there. And what I'm going to say is I'm very proud of you for even just starting. Even though people may look down and say, oh, she's doing this way and she's doing this that way, at the end of the day, you start and you put in the effort, and the only way to get to another level is to start and build from there. So I've seen your line, your product line. The packaging alone was beautiful. I know it didn't start like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
packaging is so pretty, and we can obviously include some of the pictures, the videos and stuff here, but definitely enjoy seeing how your brand is represented online, especially. So I think you've done a good job
Yeah,
over
it
the
was
years.
like, I mean, that packaging is very new. Last year, even though I relaunched, it was like, this is not a part of, or this is not the brand that I want to be represented. So I reached out to a graphic designer. This is Pated Creative Agency. She's such a wonderful person. I mean, she was there for like, I knew her for the past 2 years, and she really got into touch in who I want or what I want Mint on the Moon to be.
Yeah.
And just amazing ever since.
Yeah, and I think it is very valuable when you find somebody who is in alignment with you and your brand, because it's not common to be in a space with somebody who understands you and who you are and what your brand is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Especially as creatives, it's like we trying to grab imagination and put it
Together.
into a physical thing. So it could be challenging for us as creatives. So my question to you is, what is the biggest lesson you think you have learned over the years with both businesses as a person?
The main lesson I would say is to don't give up. Just keep continue until you get it right. 4 years ago, I honestly never thought that I would be here today, continuing Mint on the Moon and even having a second business.
Yeah.
And just start, you know, just get that idea and put it to paper.
Yeah.
And just start. That's all. Don't wait on having, oh, I need to get this, I need to get that. Just use the resources that you have at that moment, and you can always change and evolve from that.
Yeah, I agree. You know, one of the things that that keeps running in the back of my head is that everybody has cards, right? Not just like a card game. You might have 7, I have 7, but my cards are not your cards. So it's how you play your card. You gotta play your cards right.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I may not have everything that you have, but I can still use and make it work whatever I have in my plate, right? So
Very much so.
that's the end of today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
And Alystra is part of the team, so we wanted to have her earlier o'clock in the episodes. So I'm happy we did this. Tell everybody how they can reach out to you and find your products.
Okay, so you can find us on Mint on the Moon on Instagram. You can also order through that page as well. And you can also find our social media page, social media management page, Miza Media on Instagram as well.
So this is the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. New episodes every week, and we launch on all platforms, including Spotify and YouTube.